Good day to all. Welcome to Audit Analytics Solutions. Today we are going to look at a very interesting analysis. Probably anyone in the field of audit would know about this. So we would be looking at practical applications of Benford law. Well, if you are in the profession of audit and if you are not aware of this, then you are missing something very big. So let us try to understand it and see how we can practically apply it. Well, what is Benford law? Very quickly. So it basically says that there is a logarithmic distribution of a random number. Right? So when a set of numbers, we have a subset of numbers, it has to follow a logic, a set of random numbers. That's a very, very key important word, random numbers. It should not be any predefined number or a number which is coming out from multiplication of a constant. Then it is not really a random number. So we would need a random number, and that when analyzed over a period of time or a decent set of numbers, that would follow a specific set of logic. So in terms of probability of occurrence, it will have a certain defined logic of occurrence. So we are going to see about it. So that is what the law says. Law says for a random number there will be a logarithmic distribution, and any set which is not following that particular logic, there could be a chance of some manipulation. Right. Let us take one template. I think this is one from Nigiri. You can access the template which I am going to show from that in Excel. So in fact, I have not changed anything from that sheet. I have just retained the entire content. So this cell has what is to be done, etc., what data is to be filled up. So basically it says you have to fill the record, you have optional numbers, you can you have an optional data set, you basically put in some numbers and this will calculate the first digit. We're going to see what this is, and then you might have you have to sort this number and copy paste it here. Right. So this is the template which we are going to quickly see. Right. Now there are four basic tests. So what is Benford law? It says that the number appearing in a random data set has a logic, right? So the tests are four. One is the first one will see the first digit and compare that with the Benford distribution and see what is the difference. Let us go here. So the first digit, it says 1, so 1 to 9. As per this particular data set, this curve is what it should have come. So this is the Benford curve and this is the actual, right? So we have 1 which is appearing much less than what it should have been, and 4 which is appearing more than what it should have been. Now both are exceptions, both are needs to be seen. Generally people take those which are over the curve only as exceptions. No, we have to take, we would have to analyze and understand both which are below this curve and also above this curve, right? So the same logic is applied for first digit, second digit, again 0 to 9. So if I have 13,000, then 1 is the first digit and 3 is the second digit, right? And the first two digits put together. So it will be from 10 to 99, right? So again, it has the same logic. Generally from experience, the two digit, the first two digits tend to give a better feel of the data exceptions than the first digit and the second digit, because we have lot of data to work on. And again, similar logic is for the last two digits. We are going to see second order and summation soon. Now there are two advanced analysis that is done. So one is the second order, the other one is the summation. Second order is basically when the differences between the amounts, when the data is sorted. That's the reason why the template is asking for sorted data. It sees what is the difference between these two, and the difference should follow the Benford law, right? So that's the second order. And similarly, the summation of the numbers would also ideally follow the curve, right? So let us see the second order and summation. So we are saying that the intention is that the logic should align itself to the Benford law. Now let us see some practical tips. This is more important. All this is theory. let's just quickly get into the practical tips. Right now, why people are not using BL as when I say BL, Benford law, as it should have been. Right, people are, when I interact with colleagues, professionals, they have these three major issues with BL. Right, it's very broad. When you take such a big dump and you probably do a complete GL dump and say this is the exception, it's very broad. The second point is where to start. I mean, okay, fine, I have these exceptions, I have this bars. Now, where to start? We're going to see some practical tips in the next slide. Now, how to report? Right now, I cannot obviously report saying that well, this is the Benford law. There is a law called Benford law in the background, and say that your data, that is, say if I'm doing a travel expense verification, travel expense data is not adhering to Benford law, and hence there is bound to be exceptions. Respond. That's not something how it's going to work. We need to take one step further and do do further analysis. Right? We are going to see what that is, how we can do that. Right? Generally, in Benford law, the larger the data set, the better the accuracy of the results. When I say accuracy, the probability of occurrence is better, because when you have a larger data set, the probability of, say, false positives or false negative would be kind of knocked off, and you will have a decent feel of the data. Second one being, well, you can also analyze negative numbers in the sense that if you take a dump from the GL in SAP or in Tally, you tend to have a negative figure for the credit entries, right? So you can use a very small formula called ABS. So this is negative, and you can see in the formula screen, formula bar, that I've just given a very small formula of ABS, absolute, and then you can use this number and see where it is going and see the overall trend, right? This is very, very important. Don't take very, very large data sets where it is very difficult to come to a conclusion. Split the data sets into smaller ones. For example, if you are doing T&D, travel and entertainment expenses, split it employee wise and do the benefit, and we can do this Benford law employee wise. That will give a perspective. Okay, this employee, this is what is the fee that I'm getting, right? So this way, if we split the larger data into multiple subsets and do this analysis in those subsets, that will be of great help. Now, the fourth point is, it's very important. We would have to read the chart carefully. So just having a chart, having this, the next possible step would be, okay, now why is it this low and why is this high? So generally, from a practical standpoint, I can give two examples. One is in case of purchase order abuse. So the PO limit is, say, 6 lakhs. In this case, it's say 6. It could be 6 crores also, or 60,000 also. But we have lot of fives coming in, indicating that people are probably undercutting or bringing it. So the logic would be, if it exceeds 6 lakhs or 6 crores, it has to be approved by MD, for example. And until 5 lakh, until 6 lakhs, the CFO can approve. So we have actually seen fraud cases where people have abused this, and lot of POs were generated for 5 lakh 60, 5 lakh 30, 5 lakh 70, 5 lakh 90, 5 lakh 98,000 in some instances, and 5 lakh 99,000 in some instances, right? So you will see a spike in 5. So that context is very important when you are doing this data, as to what data you are analyzing and what could be the logic behind this, right? So that is more important. The other example that I said I will tell was the T&D expenses, where you will see a lot of round numbers coming in, lot of numbers beginning with 5, lot of numbers beginning with 2, where it should ideally be 1,000. They will probably make it as 3,000 or 6,000. One day will convert it to 6, right? So those kind of spike, and if you see, say, 3 and 8, you see lesser number of 3 and a sudden spike in 8. You can probably say that 3, they are probably changing it to 8, right? So those kind of perspectives will help you to better appreciate Benford. The last one, but nevertheless the very, very important step, is to ask the right question. We cannot say that this is the Benford law, now give me the answer. No, we will have to do our homework, try to understand what could be the reason behind it. Like I said, in terms of PO, in terms of T&D, we would have to logically understand what could be the reason. You try to bucket it for every employee in this case, like the third point that we saw, and then and then frame your question in terms of why a particular expense is high or why a particular number is high, right? Then I'm sure you will certainly appreciate, and Brentford law would become something which we would use or we should use for every engagement that we are doing, be it internal audit or fraud investigations or be it a financial controller. These techniques will be of great help. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.